Bonjour, Monker. It's your favorite, your Archon of Wisdom. I'm here today to bring you guys some content, as promised. I am outside, if you can't hear. The birds are paid actors. Sorry, a little bit awkward. I feel like Garbo. The world is also Garbo. A lot of things happening right now. A lot of interesting stuff to talk about. We're gonna start straight off with there has been a huge development overseas in Europe, specifically in France, with protests for Palestine, pro-Palestine protests. They're also protesting governmental changes, funding cuts, police brutality. Viva la France, you know. There's great coverage out there of what's going on. Hassan Piker is out there right now. And he's doing like live coverage of what's happening. I'm very jealous. I want to be in France. But hey, I'm poor, so that's okay. No. My heart is with them. The tensions of the protest over there are getting quite tense. I mean, it is France. They do know how to protest. They know about vive la resistance. So, there's always like contention with French protests, just based on history, I feel like. But no, it's getting pretty tumultuous over there. Great time to be out of the country right now, I guess. Things are getting pretty tense here at home. We're seeing some interesting developments happen. To bring some I guess this seems a little silly in comparison, but to bring some levity, you can no longer use Google AI to search for terms including the president and his health status, both mental and physical. There's specific terms that you can't look up. I mean, great news if you hate AI. Great news if you don't love an AI summary. I know that sometimes AI summaries, as somebody who does research a lot right now for their degree, and just in general for my job, like, research is really important. As somebody who utilizes the internet for research, it can be really distracting and really annoying to have AI results thrown in there and stuff like that, because more than likely you're looking for something very specified. But also at the same time, when or if I choose to use AI, I'm well aware that I'm going to have to I'm basically going to have to go through and recheck the sourcing on whatever the AI used. So again, that can be like, okay, I'm eliminating the step of gathering the information, but I'm also putting in a secondary step there, you know. So it's not really super helpful. So I know from that aspect that could be nice. You can just pop one of those terms in there and at the end of your search results and get some non-AI search results for your dissertations, your research papers, guys. So that's at least a somewhat positive. I'm not sure. There's a lot of tension going on around the president's health. I've spoken about it before. It seems very meh to me. But again, like, I'm someone who's chronically ill, who goes to see doctors all the time. And I had, like, a stroke and stuff. So, well, technically it wasn't a stroke. I have MS, but it's not the point. Point is, I don't know. I feel like I'm a pretty knowledgeable source to go, suspicious. But again, I mean, if we look at history from a historical perspective, this is not the first time that a president has been in improper health and has hidden it from the public. So, I don't know, as Wendigo says, next time you think the government absolutely wouldn't do something, yes, the heck they would. They have. So, that's all I'm going to say about that particular subject. Now, the last thing we're going to talk about today is the changes to the military requirements that are happening right now, that are being enacted right now. Now, I understand on surface level, these may seem kind of no-brainer, kind of duh. I know that I come from a military family, a military background, so it's a subject, in my family. I have active service members in my family, so. However, and I will state, like, there's always been weight requirements. It's not like the idea of, like, tubby fat American burger cop is not realistic. It's not realistic. I will say that you do need people aside from able-bodied soldiers in order to run a systematic military. That's just common sense. You have soldiers, you have carpenters, you have chefs, you have pilots, you have Navy men, you have clerical workers. They all work together. Again, this is common sense. On base, they have a therapist. That's usually a civilian worker. So again, okay, whatever. There are civilian jobs, so not everyone on a military base or affiliated with the military is part of the military. There are civilian jobs, I know this because I'm eligible for civilian jobs. So, now, I will state again, there's always been a quote-unquote weight requirement. Again, it's not a weight requirement, but you do have to generally be in some kind of shape and be an able-bodied person in order to be in the military. I know people in my family through all walks of life who have joined the military at different stages, different body types, etc. So that's one thing. However, what is happening is a standardization of body type. And this also ties into the other changes, the other requirements, the no shaving or the shaving laws, and things like that. So this is appearance-based laws for military soldiers. Now, let me lay it out for you. The reason why these are problematic is, one, because it is a standardization. So, firstly, we have a standardization of what a perfect soldier should be, of what a perfect person should be. I want you to think really try to wrap your brain around that. I know that sounds quite familiar. It should sound familiar if you know anything about history and World War II. So the idea of standardizing a perfect quote-unquote person or a perfect soldier is very highly problematic. What this does is allow for the coverage of discrimination. And let me explain why I believe that it allows for the coverage of discrimination. Primarily, no shaving laws target a specific group of people. This is people who have skin conditions. More than likely, statistically, people who have skin conditions are disproportionately women and people of color. Now, if you have a skin condition and you cannot shave, thus you cannot be in uniform, or not be eligible for the proper appearance which is required of you to have as a perfect soldier, then you cannot join the military. Now, again, this disproportionately affects people of color and women. This also disproportionately affects anyone who's going through hormone treatments. This means trans people also. So you have to look at this in a way that, it's presented very thinly, like, oh, it makes sense that you have to look nice. You're a soldier. Yeah, that makes sense, right? But because this is disproportionately affecting the group, aka the soldier, and then eliminating soldiers who do not fit that quote-unquote perfect appearance, this is where the danger comes in. I'm not saying... Well, actually, I won't not say that. I do feel like it is targeted disproportionately. However, I'm not saying that this is a direct, this is not laws saying directly no women in the military, for example. This is a covert regime change that is manufactured in order to create the idea of a quote-unquote perfect soldier, a quote-unquote perfect man, and that just so happens to be a man who would fit the description of white, blue-eyed, blonde, clean-shaven, young, and whose first name is probably Adolf. So, I mean, you guys know what I'm saying. So, that is my explanation. That's how I feel about it. That's why I feel like it disproportionately affects people of color. And again, these are just statistics you can look up. You can look into skin conditions like folliculitis and stuff like that, and how it disproportionately can affect people who have different hair patterns, who have curly hair patterns, who have harder hair follicles, who have different skin types, and different skin types are disproportionately affected by somebody's heritage. That's why when you go to the doctors, they always ask you what your racial background is, because it's important information, because it allows them to go, okay, she's having itchy skin, so I can see that this person is Latina, so I know that Latinas suffer disproportionately from eczema. And then she can start testing for that at the doctor, so that's how things work. I'm over explaining. I know you guys aren't stupid, but that's what I do. I'm autistic. My mom took too much Tylenol. So, actually, I was talking to my mom yesterday, and she said she didn't take no Tylenol. She said she took Advil. So, is the Advil really at fault too? I don't know. Well, that is it for today, guys. I'm gonna let you off the hook after this grim episode. I love you. Be kind to animals. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to people around you. Drink your water. And I love you. Free Palestine. I love you. Bye. Bye.